Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. So they just concluded New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. I really want to talk about some of the results here. I want to start with the women's 300 meters and Julian Alfred, the women's 100 meters Olympic champion. Also, the 60-meter indoor champion from 2024 as well. Why is this important? Well, she is the only woman in history that was able to do so, win the 60-meter indoor title and the Olympic 100-meter title in the same year. Well, Julian Alfred opened her season over the 300 meters. Now, interestingly for me, when I did hear originally that she was opening her season indoors, I thought this was a little strange considering that her coach talked about her running more 400 meters. I was wondering, is she potentially going to go after a 60-meter world record? What's the plan here? However, given that she's opened her season in the 300 meters and also listened to her saying that she'll not be competing in any 60s, only running, long distances for the early part of the season, even into outdoor season, then it's safe to say that thought about world record is no longer on the table. But one thing interesting about this Olympic 100-meter champion is that every single time she steps to the track, you can pretty much expect fireworks. And this time was no different. So Julian Alfred took to that 300 meters and she clocked a 36.16 seconds, which is also a national record for her. In second place was Dina Asher-Smith and she ran a 36.87, a personal best for herself as well. In third place from France was Emma Montoya. She ran a 38.37. So a whole 2 seconds back pretty much from Julian Alfred and also Dina Asher-Smith. Now, even though this is a national record, y'all, Julian Alfred is pretty much creating history for her country, St. Lucia. So she's going to be having a lot of firsts, but the firsts are still very impressive because I did check the all-time list as it relates to where this 36.16 ranks her, and it drops her right at number 15 all time. And that's very impressive for an athlete that is a sprinter of the shortest varieties, meaning 100 and 200 meters. So great showing, in my opinion, from a Julian Alfred. Looking forward to seeing how the season progresses. Same thing for for Adina Asher-Smith. It was a PB for her. Looking forward to seeing how the season progresses for them. Solid start when you talk about over distance and getting that strength work in. Let's see what happens as their seasons, as I said, progress. Now, I want to touch on the women's 60-meter hurdles. This one was very, very interesting. Well, you know what? Before I talk about the 60-meter hurdles, I don't know what to say is going on with this 5-lane track. I'm all for, trying to make the sport more appealing. But listen, this is a straight. There's already not much opportunity available for some of these top athletes, especially when I look at the hurdles, because everybody's pretty much stacked right on top of each other, given how well these athletes are running. And you only have 5 people running. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I hope I don't see this at any more event. And if it's at another event, let it stay in the United States of America or wherever. I don't care. I want to see the athletes running. I want to see them competing. It's only 8 lanes. Come on, fill the 8 lanes. You can do that. Right? Anyway, let's get into the women's 60-meter hurdles finals, right, where we saw world record holder Devine Charlton from the Bahamas, also the Olympic 100-meter hurdles champion Messiah Russell, Grace Stark, a finalist at the Olympic Games in the 100-meter hurdles, as well as finalist Akira Nugent, as well as Christina Clemens, that was one of the best in her heyday, right, taking to this women's 60-meter hurdles finals, right? Taking the win was Messiah Russell, and she ran a 7.80 seconds, just 2/100ths of a second outside of the world lead that was set by, I believe, another Bahamian. I'm not remembering her name right now, but I believe it's another Bahamian. Bahamas is coming. I've been watching them. They have quite a few athletes that will be coming out. I don't know how this will look as it relates to medals, but if this depth and growth continues for Team Bahamas, you can expect a really strong team in years to come that will be challenging on the medal podium when you look at, countries that represent at global events, the World Athletics, the Olympic Games. Anyway, back to the results. So Masai takes the win, 7.80 seconds. Grace Stark was second, 7.81 seconds. And Devian Charlton was third with her 7.85, a season's best for her. Also, a season's best for Masai as well, given that they've opened their season already. Now, was the opening race for Akira Nugent, and she was fourth. She ran a 7.92 seconds. Masai, definitely, she has opened her season already, as I said, but really carrying that Olympic winning torch very high. She seems like she's excited and can't wait to continue to show the world that, hey, this was no fluke, right? So she's definitely come out banging, and it shows here in this race. She led pretty much from the gun to tape. I actually loved her execution here. As I said, she looks like she's in the right frame of mind, to continue competing at the highest level. For Akira Nugent, it's her first race, so I won't, take too much from it. Didn't get the best start. She was shuffling in the blocks before, seemingly false starting, right? But they called the race back, showed everybody a green card. Then she had a go, but still didn't have the best start. But what I found interesting is that the field moved away from her, right? I don't know if it was the angle that I was looking at, but the field moved away from her. So I thought that was very interesting. But that said, still a good season opener, 7.92. It's on up from here. Another thing I will note, and I don't know if it's just a me thing, but she looked a bit heavy in the rear section. In the rear section, her rear looked a bit heavy. So I don't know. Y'all tell me in the comment section. Does she look a bit heavy to you, or is it just me? Right. That said, I'm hoping that she'll be able to go back to the drawing board and get ready, because she has a really tough 2025 ahead of her. There are a lot of girls that want to be number one. And again, Masai is there. She is currently number one, and she wants to continue being number one. And if Akira wants to overthrow her, she's going to have to, get back up there. So let's see how the competition goes from here on out. But yeah, that's what happened to the women's 60-meter hurdles. I want to also touch on the women's 60-meter finals. I'm happy to see Zecia Shares back running well. I did see her when she opened her season. It was last week, I believe last week, right? And now she took the race running a 7.11 seconds, season's best run for her. So good running. Destiny Smith Barnett, formerly American, now representing Liberia, ran a 7.14 for second, and Celera Barnes was third with a 7.14 as well. So really close racing in this women's 60 meters. When it comes to the men's 60-meter hurdles, this is a straight shot. This is Grant Holloway's, race all day, every day. He ran a 7.42, looking very good. Typical of Grant Holloway. Not much to say in this particular race. We did have a Jamaican in the men's high jump as well as the women's triple jump. So let me just touch on the results there. So in the women's triple jump final, our Jamaican finished fifth. She's Imani Oliver, and she jumped a 13.22 meters to finish fifth. Now, taking the win was Jasmine Moore, the bronze medalist from the Olympic Games, bronze in both the long and the triple, actually, and she jumped a 13.89 meters. As I said, we did have Romain Beckford that lined up in the men's high jump, and he was able to jump 2.19 meters. Now, incidentally, all three athletes cleared 2.19 meters. However, based on countback, he was second in the event. Now, moving on over to the final event that I want to cover, and that is the men's 60 meters, where Noah Lyles turned up in his typical Noah Lyles fashion, jumping all aboard the court, getting everybody hyped and excited. And I actually enjoy, that part of Noah Lyles, the part that wants to transcend the sport and let the sport grow as well. So I'm definitely here for it. In this men's 60 meters, it looked as though he would have some competition from a Trayvon Bromell leading in, and especially in the heats as well. But Based on the finals, Noah Lyles was like, nah, I'm still number one. So Noah Lyles goes away with the win, and he ran a 6.52 seconds, season's best for him. In second place, Terrence Jones from Bahamas, 6.57. Didn't realize that he graduated college, but as I said, Bahamas is coming. Keep an eye out for this very young team that is growing and developing. Loving what I'm seeing from the team Bahamas, the country themselves. I see a lot of little young athletes around that are doing big things. PJ Austin was third, and he ran a 6.60 seconds in this race, also a season's best. Now, Noah Lyles, in comparison to what he did in 2024, where he ran a 6.4, I believe, 5 to take this win. I mean, clearly a slower race, but I don't think there's anything much different from what we typically see from a Noah Lyles. I remember he opened this season a few weeks ago just to get, himself ready for this particular race, or maybe it was last week, just to get himself, ready for this race. I know he always does that. He'll get one of those refresher races in to see where he's at and then get prepped for a real high level competition like this. I have to appreciate that side of Noah Lyles that doesn't just turn up in a race rusty, not knowing what he's going to deliver, right? He always turns up at a low key meet, gets those cobwebs out, sees where he's at, and then goes back into training and is like, okay, and turns up for a real high profile competition. He did that here, and he dropped a 6.52 seconds to take the win. So, as I said, nothing really, crazy to write home about, nothing different from the typical Noah Lyles that we see. When he's running his races, not the best of starts, but really has that acceleration that will separate him from the pack. That's what happened here in this particular race. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens in 2025 when it comes to that men's 100 meters. As I said, there are a lot of men that are, throwing their hat into the ring. I am not necessarily thinking that Noah Lyles will stand atop. I told y'all already. I don't even think he's going to be on the podium. But that may be, some of my bias from a Jamaican perspective, since I want at least two Jamaicans to be on the podium. But with that said, track is that was what happened at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Pretty early days. This was a lot of a season opener for a few athletes, right? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Did you see any surprises? Oh, the young athlete Quincy Wilson ran a school record. Let me just quickly tell you guys about that. So, in the 400 meters, he took that event running 45.66 seconds, which was an age group record as well. I believe under 18 record. Yeah, he's 17, so under 18 record, right? A PB, so really great running from him. 45.66 seconds. So big running from this youngster. When he's running, I really appreciate, his age and seeing his performances. But I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm also a little scared because I wonder sometimes when I see these young athletes run so fast, so soon, what does this mean for their future in the sport? You know what I mean? But it's left to be seen. For now, let's just enjoy what we're seeing with him, I guess. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.